What's going on? Today I'm going to do a review on the other car that I had, which was a 2016 Mustang GT. So sadly, just like my BRZ video, I don't have the Mustang anymore. I just sold it about 3 months ago. But I figured I would do a little review about what I thought of the car, the things I liked and disliked, and just a general overview of it as well. I did do a 5 things I love and a 5 things I hate video. I'll link those down below. And I also did some hidden features of the Mustang that a lot of people don't know. So I'll link that down below as well. So to start out, the Mustang, 435 horsepower, right around 400 foot-pounds of torque. I think it's like 35-ish, 3,500 pounds-ish, I believe. 3,700 pounds. So it's kind of a heavier car. It's very big. You don't really sit as far back as you would think. There's still a lot of trunk space and everything, but the hood is still very long when looking over it as well from the driver's seat. So it is a bigger car. You do have to kind of get used to that, but you don't feel like you're sitting as far back as you thought you would if you just looked at them from a side profile. So I'll start out by saying the iconic looks of it are just amazing. The way the back slopes down just like the old fastback style. They really did a good job on kind of incorporating the old school with the new school. I think Dodge did a little bit better with their Challengers, especially just because they look almost identical side by side. Don't know how they were able to pull that off with aerodynamics and everything. But the Mustang looks pretty close. I think it looks very good, especially the new GT500s, the 350s and everything. On my particular one, I did do a GT350 front end conversion, or a front bumper upgrader conversion, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't too expensive, but I think it just gave it a little bit more of an aggressive look. Definitely didn't make it go back to the old school style anymore, but it is a cool way of looking at it. Now I'll put some photos of my Mustang here. What I have done to it, I did a wide body kit, wheels, air ride suspension, like I said, front GT350 front bumper. I color matched the brake calipers. I did Brom seats. I painted the steering wheel trim. I ended up wrapping the car. I redid a wide body kit. I made my own wide body kit. A whole other trunk setup. So I did a whole bunch of stuff to it, but you don't really need all that stuff to make it look good or just to have it the way it is. The one thing that I would recommend is putting an exhaust on it. I had the Corsa Extreme Catback and it just made it sound absolutely amazing. It was loud but not obnoxious. You could go on long road trips down the highway and it would not be droning or anything, but it wasn't so loud that it would wake up, 3 miles away. It wouldn't wake someone up. But it was loud enough to when you got on it, you could really hear it, and it just made it sound much more alive than the factory exhaust does. One thing that Mustangs are notorious for is crashing. The one thing that I did with the wide body kit that you don't really have to with the wide body kit, but I put on a set of Nitto NT 555 G2 tires. I did a 305 in the rear coming from a 275, I think it was stock. And in the front, I believe it was a 255 from factory, and I bumped that up to a 285. What that really did was just make it handle a lot better. Obviously had a lot more grip, but it made it way easier to control if you were trying to slide it or were trying to drift it. And if you just wanted to take corners a lot faster or anything, it had more contact patch that way. But I thought that that's what it should have come from factory like that, or at least 295s at the minimum. It just makes it handle a lot better. Makes it not as easy to crash, really. They are hard cars to control because they don't have a lot of turning radius, so you do have to control the throttle a lot more. Unlike my BRZ that I had, that had a lot of turning radius and not a lot of power, so you could really just do it with the steering wheel and just modulate the throttle a little less. unlike the Mustang, you really need to have throttle control. Now the reliability and the price of them, that's what I'll talk about next. Reliability, I had mine up to about 55,000 before I sold it. The only issue that I had was a valve cover gasket went bad. Around, I think 20,000 miles. It was covered by warranty, so it was free of charge. And I had a purge solenoid go for the evap system. It was like a $20 part. I was able to replace it myself. It was not that difficult to do. Those are the only really major issues. Besides that, I had a little bit of oil consumption, which I started looking on all GT forums. And if you're looking at this video, if you're looking to buy one, I wouldn't worry about if you buy one and it eats up a little bit of oil. When I was looking on all the forums and everything, it seemed like that was a common thing with the GT350 engines, the 5.2, not the 5.0s. Those consumed a lot of oil, and you had to be careful because if it consumed too many, it was actually covered by the dealers and they would give you a whole engine for free. With the 5.0s though, they do consume a quart to 2 quarts per oil change. What I did, a friend of mine actually recommended it, was putting a Lucas Oil synthetic additive into the oil, and that changed the game. It protected it more, it made no oil burn. It was better for the colder weather too. If it had cold starts, it's supposed to like coat the cylinder walls and everything a little bit better. When you actually put it in, you'll see it's kind of thick, but when it mixes with the oil, it actually isn't as thick as you think it would be. So it's not like really, really thick oil. It just protects your engine a lot better and doesn't make as much oil blow by or burn, which was just an amazing thing. So if you do have a Mustang, I would recommend adding that in your oil changes. It just basically replaces a quart or half a quart of oil. I think it's like 20 bucks a bottle. It's a little bit expensive for an oil change, but I would definitely recommend it. Now the price of them. Like I said, with all the cars I like to buy them 1 to 2 years old and between about 10 to 20,000 miles. So if you're looking in that price range for Mustang GT, if you're not getting the performance package like I had, and if you're not getting the leather seats and the upgraded radio and everything, you could probably find one 2017, 2018, around 30 or a little bit less with that. If you want the performance pack and you do want the leather seats and the stereo, you're gonna get a little bit up there. I would say between 30, around 30 probably for a 2-year-old with between 10 and 20,000 miles. When I bought mine was a 2017 or 2016, and I bought it in 2016. I bought it in 2018. I had 11,000 miles on it, and I think I paid 27 for it. Yeah, I paid 27 for it, but it was actually worth 32 at the time. So I would see, I have a video about how to get a better deal on used cars, so I'll link that down below as well. I was able to get a pretty good deal on this one just because of how it had some stuff on it already. It had the exhaust, the wheels were a little bit different, and because it was at a Subaru dealership, and that's a whole nother thing. It's in that video. But anyways, I would say around 30,000. You're looking at a really good one that's not really beaten. You do have to make sure if it was a little bit higher mileage that someone didn't track it a lot and it's not on the verge of blowing up, and that's why they traded it in or something, or why they're trying to sell it. But if you wanted to get one with a little bit higher mileage, you can see it around 25,000, I would say, roughly, for a reliable one. Like I said, I had mine up to 55. I had no issues with it besides that valve cover and purge solenoid. I've seen and heard of people pushing them over 100, and they start having a couple issues, but not a lot. It all depends on how well you take care of it. Obviously, transmission fluid, diff fluid, oil changes, coolant, making sure that all your fluids are nice and new, spark plugs eventually, and cleaning your fuel injectors or your fuel system. That's a big thing too. I heard that sometimes the injectors get clogged a little bit on those. So as long as you're taking good care of it, I can't see why it wouldn't last you to 100,000. Now, another cool thing with the Mustang is how many mods there are for them. So there's a couple different companies making wide body kits. There's a bunch of companies making superchargers and turbocharger kits. I think they're pushing around 800-ish reliable after you do clutch and axles and a oil pump gear on the front. I think 800's a pretty good number that they're seeing, and Pro chargers as well. There's just a lot of stuff you can do to them. New seats, like I said, front bumpers, wheels, tires, all that stuff. Bigger brakes in the rear. I had the performance package, so I had the Brembo brakes in the front, the 6 pistons in the front, which I thought were just really, really amazing. They were sweet. But if you don't want to do that package, you can definitely just go and get a kit, or find someone that's selling parting one out that was salvaged or something, and get the Brembo brake kit. That would be a good way too, especially with all that horsepower. You definitely want to slow down, and that's what I really liked about those Brembo brakes. So yeah, that's a little general overview of the car, the reliability, pricing, and stuff you can do to it. I really enjoyed mine when I had it. I was just kind of ready to move on because I had done so much stuff to it. So I was kind of ready to just move on to the next car, which will be coming in spring, April to May-ish hopefully, and then I'll have that car on the channel quite a bit. But yeah, if you're looking at buying a Mustang, I would definitely test drive one first. If you're looking at a Mustang, you're probably looking at a Camaro as well. So the only reason I didn't pick a Camaro was because of the interior. I just didn't like it as much as the Mustang. But definitely drive both of them, test drive both of them. The Mustang is a little harder to see out of the Camaro is a little harder to see out of than the Mustang. But the Mustang still has its blind spots and everything. So I definitely just test drive both of them. See which one you really like more. It's all personal preference. But I hope this helped you out a little bit, understanding more of the reliability and stuff. I'll definitely link some of the videos of when I had my Mustang and the videos I did with it down below if you want to check those ones out. Thank you so much for enjoying. If you could hit that like button, that really helps out the channel. And thank you so much.